Hey guys, this is our lovely little slice of paradise we got out here. Nice big shade tree. We were thinking about cutting this down almost for wood, but then we figured it was the only tree in the whole land. So our land pretty much goes down to where that big macarpa is at the end there. I'll show you later on. But yeah, these are the yards I just recently built. Primarily just to drench these cattle and to shear the alpacas once in a while, once every year actually. So this is our water setup. Pretty basic, just a fitting that screws into the original cap of the IBC. Turn it on, two-way splitter. I should really have a ball valve on there, but cattle are known to knock them off or break them when they're drinking. And then the other one just goes over here. Just recently had to dig up the underside of this gateway. So I run the hose and the electrical cable for the electric fence. So just to basically run through of what a basic yard should have. So this will be the holding pen. And then it goes into a forcing area up here. Hence where you need the boards. And then there's my race where I'll do all the drenching. Gate here, there's going to be a gate there. There'll be a gate here. So this is the alpaca shearing pen. And I've pretty much just got a gate here I can split the pen in two with. So we can just get one animal in here and yeah, shear them, as alpacas are pretty notoriously difficult to shear. And then I'll have another gate on the end here to let the cattle out of the race once I've finished drenching. And also a gate in here. Easy as. So this is just a quick example on how you can fence off a tree in a paddock. It stops the stock from getting to it. You just got your triple X's there, helps drain it up. And some people can run a board along the top. But I'm just going to run a hot wire, an electric wire from here to the boundary fence there. Stop the cattle from leaning over and having a munch on my plants, well, on my tree. Here goes my lawnmowers here. Middle one's a Wagyu, and then we've got a Hereford cross over here, and this is I think a Jersey Benny cross, not too sure. All castrated males, don't want to have bulls here. So there's our gateway there. This hedge line, this shout about is brilliant, eh? Like, the amount of wind it blocks is crazy. So anyway, back to the shade tree. It's a big eucalyptus called Data, I am pretty sure. So just to run down on what the land used to be like. This whole area, even on the hill, used to get really, really boggy. There was cattle on this land before we brought it. So they'd obviously pugged it down as the drainage wasn't up to scratch. It got fixed before we brought it. But this is my tree plot here, my firewood block I was talking about in my video. And we had a few eucalyptus botrytis going in there. They obviously hated the water. So pretty much all of them died. And we were like, we can't do this again. So we got a contractor in to subsoil the ground, which is like a plough that goes, I'm not sure how deep it goes actually, probably like 3 feet. So a spike goes in the ground, and then a spade bit kind of just digs it under. So it creates these like drainage lines, I guess. So it'll be interesting to see what this winter brings. And if we have the same problem, I don't think we will. So hopefully it's all been fixed. On our roadside here we've got a massive big hawthorn tree. Can eat the berries. They're supposed to be real good for your heart. I tried one, they're pretty tasteless. So here's what our shelter belt is grown from. It's a cypress, I think it's a Leylandii. And then down here I've planted other macrocarpa, well, cypress species. I thought they were a Leylandii, but they're macrocarpa. So they're pretty closely related, but yeah, hopefully no one knows the difference when they grow bigger. So this is the entranceway to my firewood block. These are all my Eucalyptus ovata. They were about yay high when I planted them. And this is a year's growth, which is crazy, absolutely crazy how fast these things can grow. So these are very drought tolerant, very wet tolerant. They are called swamp gum. So they love both, so it's perfect here, as we've had drought and we've also had a lot of wet. So these ones I put in last year, they were already quite big when I put them in, or bigger than like a little root trainer plant. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rows going in. And everywhere here, see how I've sprayed bits in between each tree. This is where all the Acacia melanoxylon will be going. And also in here too. So horizontally and vertically in between the eucalyptuses. Here's an example of a young one. Won't be too long before we see him get pretty big. Here are some called data I planted. I've only planted about 3. Forgot to mention that in my last video. And then these, I think they were called globulus, but I think I was wrong. It's Tasmanian blue gum, so I'm not 100% sure on the scientific name for that. So you can see on either side of the rows I've left the grass quite long. Number 1, it would have been a pain to mow. Number 2, the tall grass acts as like a windbreak to help the smaller seedlings get more established, as the wind can get pretty bad up on this little hill rise here. Even though I strongly believe in permaculture, I've resorted to spraying around the trees here, just for the first couple of years of life, just so they get a good head start. And doing it any other way apart from spraying would have been so time consuming. So yeah, I've gone with that method. One of the problems I had when starting to grow trees here was the hares. So they'd come over and just cut the trees off at the base with these sharp little teeth. And yeah, they didn't even need it. It was like they were almost doing it for sport. So that was a bit infuriating. And then the wetness just killed the rest of them off. So pretty much those big ones there are the only survivors from the first lot that I planted. Everything else here died. So I come back probably start of this year and planted a whole lot more ovata and a few other little extra ones. So here's when you plant stuff, apparently hares get attracted to the fresh dug up dirt. They must take notice of it or something, and yeah, they're attracted to the area and then they start feeding on your plants. So that's just wonderful. Yo, what's up, boy? What's number 3 up to? What are you doing? Hey? He's hanging out, messing with my stuff. So this is an old fence line that used to run through here. In the process just ripping it down because it was in a state. So these are my alpacas. This one thinks she's the matriarch of the whole group. Well, she is actually. So this is Savannah. Then over here we've got Jukes and Bubsy. So little Jeffrey here, his mum is Bubsy, the white one. He was born about 2 weeks ago. Already grown up heaps. Little cutie. There you go. So these alpacas only need short once a year. I didn't have my yards completed in time this year. So pretty gutted I couldn't share them this year. and it's pretty much autumn now, so I don't want to shear them and have them go straight into the cold. So I think they'll be alright for another season. He's got to feed these hay. Got to feed them grass and hay. They're a non-ruminant, so they can't just survive off grass. So with this land, there was a fence running through. So I've ripped all the original fencing down. So all this is new. The firewood block over there. And then this is where my food forest will go. So it's quite a large area. Goes down to the boundary there. And then all the way up to the boundary fence up there. This is my solar powered electric fence unit. Simple really, you just drive 3 earth stakes into the ground. Yeah, really good. Since there's no power here, you have to rely on this to fence the animals in. And this is the poor lawnmower that got left in the paddock one time. The cows tossed it around like a rag doll. It ended up being about 10 metres away from where it originally started. One of the wheels are ripped off and they ripped the accelerator cable out, so that was just great. But yeah, should have known better, but now I do. This is one of my orders, Order Cordata. I'm going to have to move it because it's right in front of where the solar powered units are going to be. So it's going to grow pretty big and block all the light out. Here I have my elderberry and pittosporum. And it pretty much goes like that, elderberry, pittosporum all the way down there. So this is facing north. We're in the southern hemisphere, so everything you want to be facing north. On the second row I have just manukas. I need to get some bark chip around these so the grass doesn't overgrow them. So this is all facing east. You got north, you got west over here. So yeah, just in a row of manuka here. Need to bark chip them all, as the grass here is just crazy long. I haven't figured out how I'm going to suppress all this grass growth. The idea was to lay down some cardboard and yeah, cover it with bark chip. But there's a lot of area to cover here. I'd say it'll be almost 3/4 of an acre, half an acre at least. Here's just a bit of comfrey I've dotted. I started dotting around the place. So this is a tree lucerne, or Acacia. Really good nitrogen fixer, really good fodder for animals. So if you lie on grass in the winter, you can just chop these down and feed them to your animals. This is a good example of hair damage. This is the kind of crap I have to put up with from the hairs. It's lucky these are big enough. Most of the time if you plant something small in here, they just behead it. So yeah, there's a lot to do in here still. This is my black locust, pseudo Acacia. Another good nitrogen fixer. Very thorny. So this is the first tree we ever planted here in the food forest. It's a hazelnut, and we use this as kind of a reference point to plant everything else off, even though it's not right in the middle, but yeah. So we just went a row of tree lucerne there, row down there, row there, kind of like an asterisk shape. So we mainly planted the tree lucerne to create shelter. Another name for them could be like nurse plants, I guess. They help nurse the younger plants and prevent some of the wind damage. Some of them haven't survived. It's been a pretty droughty summer. The ones that have survived are doing pretty well. Here's a young cabbage tree, or cordyline, New Zealand native. They grow to be quite big, like palm tree kind of size. Really good for starlings and stuff. Like to nest in them. So even though people hate starlings, I kind of want them here as it's going to help with the old biodiversity. Here's some young manukas that are ready to be planted out down this row. Very crooked row, but surprised they've survived it here. It's been pretty dry. I've had to come out and water them now and then. This is a different kind of stinging nettle we're used to in New Zealand. Not 100% sure on the name of it, to be honest, but it just grew with this bamboo that we got. I think the subspecies is called Falciformis. But yeah, really nice looking bamboo. And then we got another row of pittosporums here. This is on the west side. This is where we get the majority of the wind. So I've got 3 shout-about rows here. So we've got, I've got 4. I've got 4 rows of trees here for shelter. So these are the Kanuka. Yep. Kunzia iroquoides. Yeah, I need to get my ass into gear and put some bark chip around these to try and suppress some weed growth. And then the second row, I've just got all pittosporums all the way down. They'll bush out and fill the gaps. Then in the third row, I've got flax, native New Zealand flax, which harakiki, and then pittosporums, and then yeah, so forth and so forth. And the last row, closest to the boundary fence, is all alders. So they'll grow the biggest. So using them as primarily my first line of defence, and then the wind should kind of get filtered less and less through each row. So this is my north boundary. I've just planted bamboo all the way down this. Stop some of the northerlies. Yeah, and then just in between I've interspaced it with pittosporum, little fella here. So yeah, bamboo always looks real nice, always sounds real nice in the wind. So this is the bane of my existence at the moment. It's called fat hen. I'll put the scientific name for it up. So when we got this big pile of bark chip here, got it from a friend who's a dairy farmer, and he's like, oh yeah, I got all this bark chip I can give you, as to buy it, just plain bark chip's pretty expensive. So he's like, oh yeah, I can give you all the stuff that we've scraped out of the cow yards, and it's got manure in it. So I was like, oh yeah, win-win. And then we got it in the winter, had nothing on it, and then as soon as spring hit, grew fat hen all over it. It's just all through it. So I'm hoping if it's left here a bit longer, it will compost itself and kill the seeds inside it. Fingers crossed. But yeah, I'm still going to use it anyway. The fat hen kind of grows really fast, so it helps stop the soil from drying out around each tree after you've planted it. And this is the pile I just actually pulled off it about a week ago, leaving to dry. I think I got to it before the seed pods got ripe enough, so, well, here we're hoping. Bloody hares. You bastards. Oh look, more fat hen going to seed. Surprise, surprise. So this is elderberry. It's pretty well sought after in the North Island and overseas, I think, actually, for the berries. Make great elderberry cordial or elderberry wine. But down here in Southland it grows like a weed pretty much everywhere on the roadsides. So my dad was a bit unhappy that I planted it in here, but yeah, oh well. This is the south end of my food forest. I've just got a few wee feijoas going here. Hopefully they make it. They're more of a warmer climate plant too, but known to be pretty hardy. We'll see how they go. So this is the south boundary of the food forest. If you can see that peg there, orange peg, that is the front of our building platform. And then down here, there's the back. So it's a 30 by 30 metre square. Another one over there if you can see it. It doesn't really matter that that survey peg is in the food forest, as we're not going to be building that far up. So we're going to be putting it right at the back there, So that's where the house will start. I'm going to use right at the back of the building platform. So the house will be in line with this hedge here to stop the wind. The house originally was in this little gully down there. You can probably see a dead tree. There's a dead tree in the hedge there. One of the hedges died as the drainage was getting done. The tree roots were blocking up the tiles. So it all got dug up, and then we had an overflow pipe put in. But that's where the original building platform was going to go, and it was 4 metres off the hedge, right in the gully, one of the wettest parts on the property. And we pretty much weren't happy with it, so we had to go through a bit of a rigmarole with the council to get it moved. Very costly exercise. So we got it moved, I think it was 50 metres forward. And we're going to end up on here, so we're ending up on higher ground. And we'll still have sun. Because when we're down here in the winter, that hedge sheltered the whole building platform, it shaded it. So you wouldn't have got any like winter sun as the sun's lower in the sky. So we're like, if we put it up here, we'll get sun until late afternoon at least. And yeah, we're just going to be building a panel house. So it's just polystyrene sandwiched in between 2 bits of steel. Easy to build, quick to put up, cheaper than conventional. Yeah. So there's the building peg there. This was another reason we wanted to go off-grid. The fact that the driveway, the gateway is all the way up there. So it was a good, probably 60 metres from where the house is going to be to the driveway. And yeah, pretty costly to lay underground cable that far. And plus, like, we would already be probably 10 grand out of pocket just for laying the cable. So why not put that money towards a solar setup? So that's just a wee brief introduction of what we got going on here, and yeah, we still got a lot of work ahead of us. Hey girls. Oh, Jeffrey, eh? But yeah, it's very rewarding. I never knew how to put up a fence before this. Never really worked with lumber. So yeah, it's definitely a massive learning curve, but I'm enjoying it all the way. Very rewarding, very. Alright. So if you guys are keen to see more and see the development of the land and the house and the progress we've got going on here, yeah, subscribe up, and we'll try and get as much content out as we can. Oh Jeffrey, you cute little furry giraffe. Oh yeah. Not the most friendliest. Oh, there you go. Hey Bubsy. These are very prone for spitting. I've been spat in the face before. It smells disgusting. I originally thought it was just spit they spat up, but they regurgitate their stomach contents and yeah, fling it all over the place. I think they're hanging out to get water and I'm just hanging around. Alright, leave you to it.